Episode 179 of the Wilderness Podcast is brought to you by our supporters. If you want to support the show, go to patreon.com/thewilderness podcast, where you can sign up for a monthly pledge. So I've got to welcome Mallard to the Patreon club. And of course, every episode is dedicated to a few of our supporters. That being Tango Styles, and of course, all of our top tier supporters. Aiden A, Gentinu, Grunkle G, Splemo, Dreadful Monkeys, Mateo was. Oh God, I hope I'm saying that one right. I think I've butchered that every single time. Sorry. Szechuan, Cynical Cyanide, and Mallard. And of course, a super duper ultra shout out to Straw. I'm gonna have to start doing this for like so many different supporters because I apparently screw everything up. But super duper shout out to Strosity because he had missed a few of those. Well, anyways. If Patreon's not your thing, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/Dilz, where you can buy me a coffee. I want to thank Timbuktu25. Man, that's so much coffee. And it's still coming. Caradoc, Terry Paramore, Issa Cole World, and Swizzle. Thank you guys so much for the coffee. And thanks to everyone for the support. And thanks for everyone for listening. All right, let's get into it. Welcome to episode 179 of the Wilderness Podcast. I am Dilz, and joined with me today is Mr. Heartless. How's it going?
Hey, Dilz. Good to be back.
Oh, it's been a little bit, man. We have so much shit to talk about. Oh, man. Like, I have this little notebook here, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can hear that. I have a bunch of topics I jot down when they pop up, and it's just been... Oh, man, I'm starting to get... We're getting backed up on all these topics that we have to talk about. We're definitely not going to be able to talk about them all this episode. That's okay. There has been some wild shit that looks like that have been kind of...
Yeah, there's been a few changes in the game for sure.
Yeah, so for update side of things, we've seen some new features from Runelite are getting introduced onto the Steam client. It's kind of in a beta process, but like beta testing, but they'll eventually be coming into the main game and mobile. That's where I'm super excited for them.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I don't know if you have this issue. I have it where like mobile is great, but I think I compare it way too much to the PC client. And I think I could easily PVM on mobile, but I can't help but to feel like I'm not being like I get my ass kicked on mobile. And then I'm like, man, I should just save it for when I get on my computer.
Yeah, that's the thing. I have actually, did I tell you or mention on the pod that I did a Theater of Blood on mobile?
You might have. I can't remember.
It's very difficult to click accurately within the small, on certain PV. You could do like half the PVM bosses on mobile, but half of them you need to be very precise with your clicks. And
right.
It's not really possible to react that quickly, especially with your fingers. I found it very difficult. I wonder if you did it a lot, if it would become possible.
I think it does. I think a lot of like our problem, and which I was mentioning, is like we compare it to how well we perform on PC. Because I'll get into it in a bit, but with RuneScape 3 came out on mobile, and I've been playing it on my phone, and I'm like, and it's actually like, I guess I should make a. Last week I said it was very well optimized. It's actually super laggy. It kind of clugs along sometimes, but like the UI and the way it's just super, like the interface is really clean. I almost feel like it's cleaner. I don't even know how this happened, but it's somehow cleaner than old school RuneScape on mobile.
Interesting.
Yeah, because if you ever played RuneScape 3, it's just like a shit ton of... It's a ton of menus. Whenever I watch somebody on Twitch, or you go log into your account on RuneScape 3, it's like a dozen pop-ups and menus are in your face that you need to like sort out. And it's usually overwhelming and causes everyone to just kind of turn it off. But
yeah, this game ports pretty easily because you only need like 15 frames to play it reasonably. And that's pretty comfortable on most phones to be able to do that. So yeah, totally. I find there's like zero lag and zero issues just with how old the game graphics are.
Yeah, and it's usually pretty good. But so I've never really played, going back to RuneScape 3, I've never really played too much RuneScape 3. I tried to get into it a few times, but with it coming out on mobile, I was like, I'm going to play a bit of it on my phone. And I'm like, man, it feels really good. And it's like the combat, everything feels really good on mobile. And then I go onto the subreddit and everyone's like, I don't know how anyone's going to be able to kill anything on this game, like on mobile. It's impossible. And because I don't have the experience playing it on PC, I think that helps me kind of not compare my performance from my phone to my computer performance. All that to say, I feel like that's why I feel like I suck so much more on mobile, and I refuse to do a lot of bossing because we just look at how well we are on the PC.
Yeah, I just typically on mobile, I just AFK stuff that I wouldn't do and don't care about the XP rates, like fishing, rune crafting, stuff like that. Wood cutting.
Totally.
I don't know, I really enjoy that.
So yeah, with these new client features that might be coming, that should be coming to mobile at some point, I think it'll make things a lot more, I guess, fluid. Being able to have tile markers. We'll get into it. We will get into it. But of course, a big topic of discussion this week is the wilderness changes that Jagex is thinking about. I want to say they proposed it, but as always, they come out with all these ideas. They take all the feedback. They change a whole whack of stuff, and it left me with a giant question. And I've seen people talking about it. And as someone, this might surprise you, but I've always loved the wilderness. I love the idea of it. I'm not much of a PKer, but I always thought it was like such an iconic part of the game that I was like, we have to name a podcast. We have to name the podcast after the wilderness. And that's what we did here. But it is in a weird state. And I think there's like no parties happy with it. Anyways, we'll be getting into that as well. It's a very controversial subject. And lastly, an actual update that we received this week was Phosani's Nightmare, aka Nightmare Vashiyama hard mode or Nightmare solo mode, depending on how you want to look at it. So that got dropped on us this week as well, with the equipment rebalance changes. With the ranged equipment rebalance changes being dropped with it as well.
Well, part of it, yeah. The blowpipe nerf.
Yeah, and the new bow, and it's kind of caused this shift, and people are panicking.
It's okay. People are panicking. We'll go through the changes and talk about sort of how I have an idea of how the initial meta has sort of sorted itself out. So no need to worry.
We don't need to worry. That's great.
We'll go through it.
Yeah, just stop looking at your bank value because it is in the shitter right now.
Yeah, everyone's bank value's in the shitter, so don't worry about that. The items are still just as good as they were before.
But one big solid piece of news that we have to talk about later on is Jagex accidentally leaked something. I don't know if you saw this. But concept art for a new boss.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, it looks sweet.
Yeah, it looks pretty sweet, and people are chattering about what it could be.
Dude, give us anything.
Yeah, we'll speculate when we get to exactly anything.
Yeah, this is going to be an action-packed episode. We also get to hear updates on the field trip that happened like almost a month ago now.
Field trip. Yeah. So without further ado, what have you been up to? How do you want to start? How do you want to kick this one off?
Why don't we do real life? Because it has been like a good month and since we've podcasted together, I feel like.
Feels that way, yeah.
Would you agree? Maybe 3 weeks. So
I've lost track of time. But
unfortunately, we just haven't been able to coordinate it. Congrats on the solo episode. It was high quality.
Thank you.
School at the last, like from a teacher's point of view, for all you people that are not teachers out there, is pretty crazy during the last few weeks. You have to do report cards. There's lots of kids coming in and out of school, like leaving for trips and stuff. So there's like tons of communication with parents. It's just a very hectic time. And then you're coordinating with teachers about people retiring. And there's just all sorts of things going on. You're trying to do year-end projects, wrap them all up, get your marks together. So it's kind of a hectic time. This is sort of my first experience at it because last year I was teaching a class, but it was online. And for someone who is comfortable with computers, online class is like a joke. It's like very true. It's not much you have to do for it, to be honest, because you can't even see the kids.
Yeah, you had Minecraft, right?
Yeah,
you're teaching in Minecraft.
No, that's like one thing we did a week. Like on Tuesdays, if they wanted to join their friends so they could actually socialize, I opened a Minecraft server for them.
You teach one day in Minecraft, one day in Terraria.
I wasn't really teaching. It was mostly them just playing and being forced to speak French with each other.
Nice.
But they seem to like it. But then the rest of the week, we only had to do like 5 hours of stuff. I think I mentioned it last year. I can't remember. I don't even know when I joined the pod, Dilz. It feels like it's been a long time now.
Oh, yeah. 2020 was a crazy time. Yeah, it was
I feel like I came on as like a guest because Magpies was away, and then I just became a permanent fixture.
We did recorded like once every 3 months, and then 1 month we recorded like 20 episodes. It was
oh my god, the Christmas time we went ham. It was fun though. I had a great time, and I hope we can go pretty hard this summer because I'm not working, so hopefully we can stock up on a few episodes maybe.
Yeah, possibly. Anyways, so much going on. Yeah.
So life was crazy. That's why I haven't been here. But the field trip was fun. It went quite well. So we walked down. It took us about an hour to get there. It was a hot day, but it was like the week before for those of you who don't know, we had a heat wave in Western Canada, which is now currently in Eastern Canada. Dilz struggling.
It's actually kind of cool today, but I think it maybe just passed us, or maybe it's still on its way.
Yeah. So the heat wave was. We'll talk about it in a second, but the field trip went well. We walked down to the place and we did a little hike.
Where did you go? Was it
It's this place called Royal Roads University. It was about an hour away from our school via walk, maybe like a 10-minute drive. And it has these beautiful grounds and like an old castle, and you can walk down to the beach on the waterfront. So we just kind of chilled most of the day, and I let them play. And we did a little hike through the woods. Played a game called Camouflage, which is a classic camp game.
Camouflage? I've never heard of that.
Never played that? So it's basically like a slightly more involved version of hide and seek and tag together. So there's one person in the middle. This is great. If you ever have a group of even adults, it's fun. You have one person who's in the middle, and they're basically like the watcher. So you're trying to find everyone. And you count to 20, and everyone goes and hides in the area. You don't want to hide too far away because you need to be able to run. And then when you say like food, you'll say it for like 20 seconds. You close your eyes. And you count down, and the people have to come and tag your hand or like tag some kind of object near you, and then go and hide again within the 20 seconds. So there's a bunch of like commands, and then if you catch someone, you put them in jail next to you, and then you can call water for X amount of seconds, which means you can come and free someone from jail and then go and hide again. So it's pretty fun. It's like multiple layers.
Have you ever played a Manhunt?
Man Tracker? Yeah.
Man Tracker. Is that what you call it?
That's what we call it. Yeah. That's where there's one person who's it, and when you tag someone, they also become it.
I forget how exactly it worked, but there was like a jail where you would tag them, they would go into jail, and then someone else could run to the jail and they could do a jailbreak. And if they did it, everyone had to run.
Kind of sounds like Cops and Robbers a little bit.
Something like that. Yeah, you'd have a couple people who are it. Then there was Grounders. Did you play Grounders?
Oh, it's still going. Yeah, that's a classic. It's a timeless classic, really.
First off, everyone cheats in Grounders. If you don't know what it is, you'll see why people cheat, because if you didn't cheat, it's like the most dangerous game.
Oh, it's deeply dangerous.
Whoever's it has to basically close their eyes or get blindfolded, and then they're walking through the playground, and if you're not it, you have to not get caught by them. But if you touch the ground or where the gravel is, the person can yell Grounders, and boom, if you're on the ground, you're done.
Yeah, the person who's it can open their eyes on the ground, but you have to close your eyes whenever you go onto the playground or leave the ground, so that the people have a chance to get away from you, or else you just be able to tag them too easily. Deeply
Bro, that's
dangerous.
So yeah.
So I watched the kids. I actually played it with them once this year, and I was it for most of the time because I didn't want them to get hurt. So I was just like trying to catch them, but like just barely catching them,
Imagine like playing with your teacher and they like fall off the top of the playground and just get KO'd.
One girl in my class broke her leg in September.
Oh my God.
On the playground. She fell from the monkey bars and like snapped her leg, and it was brutal, God. Man.
Imagine that happened to a teacher though, and it's like, what happened? It's like, I broke my leg playing Grounders.
Yeah, no, I take it easy. But seriously, man, this girl just like snapped her leg, and I carried her to the office, and she wasn't even crying. She was just in shock.
Oh my God.
Oh, it was I just knew it was broken right away. She was just like, white face,
super
and, like,
limp.
I was like, "Can you move your toes?" And she's like, "Nope." I was like, Jesus. "Oh shit!" Let's just pick her up and yoink her to the office. Yeah, she was back at school a few days later and pretty happy.
Kids are resilient.
We used to make jokes about it like later to just be like, "Oh, we know what it's like. Don't want to break your leg playing on the playground." Yeah, she liked it. It's fun. You got to make light of the situation.
Oh yeah.
Dude, where was I? The field trip. Yeah, it was good, man. We had fun. We had the pizza. We had the ice cream truck ended up being booked, so we couldn't get it down.
Oh no.
But I packed in some freezies in the morning, and we had those pretty much right away.
You didn't tell them about the ice cream truck before.
No, I didn't. No, could you imagine the disappointment?
Yeah.
That would be brutal.
You just bust out the jumbo freezies, and they're like,
yeah, bust out the jumbo freezies at like 9:30 in the morning, and they were into that. So, and then a parent came with some Gatorades, so it was fun. We only had like one kid showed up with flip flops on, man, actual flip flops, and I was like, you realize we're gonna walk for like 3 hours today, including through the woods on a hike? And he was like, yeah. Like, you don't want to call mom to get some shoes? He's like, no. I'm like, all right, man. Like, that's up to you.
Yeah,
so that kid was fine. And then at the end of the day, he had a cut on his toe and his toe was bleeding. And he's like, my toe is bleeding. I'm like, yeah, that's because you wore flip flops.
Well, yeah, what did you learn? I'm not doing anything to help you.
What did you expect? I'm like, I can't help you. And I ended up giving him a Band-Aid, and we stuck a Band-Aid on his toe. But
you pour some vinegar on it. This is what you get, Timmy.
That's Timmy. Yeah, little Timmy. Whatever, man. So it was pretty good. I think only had one injury. I accidentally took them on this like
only one injury. I guess that's good, right? That's a good number.
Yeah, there was like multiple trails. One went up to a waterfall, but it was a bit of a longer route, and I was like, I kind of want to cut that one. So we took this trail to the left. And it looked perfectly fine, and then it started getting thicker and thicker as we went through. I was like starting to move these thorny bushes, and the kids were just snaked along behind me so far I couldn't see them. So I moved some bushes, and then I realized, I was like, oh no, this is going to go like right next to the waterfall. And it did. I was like, please watch your step. One girl fell down this small thing and like twisted her ankle. But, one injury, we take those, as the teachers say.
It's like not average, bad like at all. 5. That's pretty good.
Yeah. And she was really fine. She's mostly just being dramatic. But yeah, it was a fun trip, man. I definitely would do it again.
That's pretty sweet. Yeah, I've been going down to the office for like my day job, and we went out for lunch or whatever. So we just like it's right in the city near where I live, Toronto, and we just went to some restaurant. But I was like, man, this feels like we're off on a field trip together. Like there's like I work for a small company. It's like 10 of us,
right?
But I was like, man, I miss the days of having a field trip where you're like. Today, I guess you can kind of do. We're adults; we can kind of do it whenever we want. But you lose
It's not the same. Whereas,
magic.
The magic of it isn't quite there. Or like camping is a very similar sort of feeling where you're like out in the woods or out in nature.
But I think part of it has to be like you're supposed to be doing something else. Like when I used to work for a construction company, we would have like they called it Employee Appreciation Day, and they used to there's this giant theme park not near, but a couple hours away called Canada's Wonderland. And the company would book an hour for just the people who worked for the company.
That's cool.
And would be on a day where you're like supposed to be at work, but you'd spend the day at this theme park instead.
Like you're getting paid to be there. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. So I guess that's like it.
Yeah, I see that. I see what you mean.
Yeah, dude. Over the years, that kind of petered out and became worse and worse. Anyways, we won't get to that.
So, for our Western Canada listeners, or I guess probably affected the States too, there was an insane heat wave here last Monday. So temperatures got up to like, we got the highest ever recorded temperature in British Columbia, which was like close to 50 degrees Celsius, which is like 125 Fahrenheit for you American listeners out there. And I was like, damn, dude, that's hot. And that was in interior BC. And that town actually burnt down on the third day of the heat wave. The entire town burnt down.
Wait, what?
It was so hot. Yeah, it's a town called Lytton. Yeah, they recorded 46, 47, then 48 degrees Celsius or something 3 days in a row. And then the third day, the town burnt down.
And the firefighters were like, no, we're not doing anything, man. It's just too hot. It's like...
it's just so dry. All it needed was one spark and the whole place went up. So that was scary. But here on the coast, so I live next to right next to the ocean. It's usually pretty cool. We're talking like 20 degrees Celsius, which is, I guess, like 80 Fahrenheit-ish. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, I have no idea.
But it got up to like about 100 here Fahrenheit, so like high 30s, and it was like, it's too much for us to handle because we're just not equipped for it.
Yeah.
And I work in a portable with no air conditioning. Ooh. So it was that temperature or hotter inside this tin can. So on Monday, which was supposed to be the second last day of school, kids didn't even come. I had 0 children show up.
Really? Yeah, that's fair.
It was too dangerous. And then the last day I had like half of them, and we just spent our entire day in the library watching movies because it was so hot. It's
that's crazy. I'm already not a huge fan of the heat, but like 50 degrees. Again, when I worked in construction, I was much more like paying attention to the heat because it was like at 40. As soon as you hit 40 degrees, it was like, okay, now work is slowing down. You're not going to do much. Like the safety guy would be going around being like, 15 minutes on, 15 minutes off.
Yeah.
But it's 50 degrees, that's holy shit.
Most places, yeah, that was on the interior. So here on the coast is closer to like high 30s, 40.
Yeah.
And any type of outdoor job basically closed. I know a buddy in the disc was saying that he works outside and he got closed down even on the island, which is nuts.
Understandable.
Yeah, it was not a fun time. And I think now it's kind of like pushing to the east. So, and I know some places in the world are like hotter, but we don't have the infrastructure in place. Like basically no buildings have air conditioning because we don't need it. Because it's usually so cool even in the summer.
This is in BC?
In BC, not necessarily across BC, but specifically on the coast, like Victoria, Vancouver area, we just don't have a lot of buildings with AC.
I gotta move to BC. That sounds amazing.
It's not really necessary. What, you want to live here with no air conditioning?
Well, I mean, I would bring air conditioning, but like, I can't stand the heat. I have two AC. I have like the central air, and then I have like a portable AC unit that I have to turn on because I can't sleep when it's like above 20 degrees.
Yeah, I can feel that. It just doesn't get that hot here normally in the summers because of the cool ocean breeze all the time.
Oh, love that.
It's just nice. So interior can get hot, but I've heard like it's out of control hot in Ontario in the summers. Muggy as well. Right?
I have nothing else to compare it to, but yeah, it feels pretty brutal.
Like central BC can be pretty bad. Like Okanagan Valley is like basically a desert. It gets pretty dry there too. But anyways,
oh boy.
Yeah, it hasn't been a good time. So that's been real life. Anything you want to add to your real life section before we hit the RuneScape?
No.
Okay.
No, nothing going on.
All right, let's jump into the scape. So since it was so busy, I didn't have a lot of time. I still playing quite a bit because there wasn't much else to do. I couldn't go outside. But when I wasn't working, I was usually doing raids because I knew the blowpipe nerf was coming any day, and it did. Yeah. So I was like, it's time to buck up and learn solo raids. So I did it. It was fun. I ended up doing. It took me maybe like 10 to get them really down.
The solo raids.
Yeah, reminder that I had like 350 team raids, so I'm fairly comfortable with the old mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
So by about 10, I was comfortable enough where I was like comfortably not dying with quite a few brews left. And yeah, I ended up doing 62 of them in 3 weeks, which is a good amount. And I got 2 purples.
Oh, nice. That's under drop rate though, isn't it?
About on rate. It's about 1 in 30. So I was just about on rate.
So what did you get?
The first one was in Dexterous Prayer Scroll, and the second one was another arcane added to the stack, boys.
And you already had the Dex, right?
Yeah, I had the Dex, and I have 7. I have 8 arcanes now. So.
Oh no! Well, yeah. The way she goes.
That's the way of the road. Yeah, there's not much you can do about it, really. It's just to be expected in chambers, but it felt really good, and I managed to get a no prep done as well, which means I just brought in a few extra brews because you don't really take much damage once you get comfortable with the Olm until the very end. And then the blowpipe nerf came, which was last week, and we'll talk about Corrupted Gauntlet changes, but I started doing Corrupted Gauntlet because that's kind of the next sort of step for my account.
Yeah.
Get the full crystal armor, and then I just AFK'd some skills and finished my elite achievement diaries. So I got the cape this morning.
Hey, sick! And how's that treating you? Is it a good cape to get?
It's so good. It has like 15 teleports on it. It can teleport you to any of the achievement diary master. So it's great for master clues.
Nice,
which are fun.
Dope.
Speaking of master clues, I sent one the other day, and I got the Anguish ornament kit, which is probably one of the coolest ones.
That's yeah. Okay, no, I know that one.
Spiky, dude. Yeah. So I've done 27 master clues, and I have 3 of the 4 ornament kits for jewelry. I have the bracelets, so the tormented bracelet that turns it into the 2, which looks really good. I have the occult necklace, which turns it into like a smoke devil. Yeah. And then I have the Anguish, so I'm definitely huge spoon for kits. I'm just missing the torture one.
Not bad. Damn.
Yeah, I love to see it. So enormous shout out to the boys last night. We sent 5 hours of Barbarian Assault yesterday because it was my last task. So Z Space, huge shout out to Z Space, who came on his Iron Man GZ Space, which is just one of the all-time great names.
Nice.
So he was level 61. We had a couple wipes because his HP was so low that he would just get stacked out by the queen before level 1 healers could heal him.
True.
We had an absolute blast though. He was in leather armor, like full leather, no amulet, maple short bow.
That's the beauty of early Iron Man.
I know, it's the best part.
Can really mess you up. She can hit hard.
She had like 13, dudes? 14s, and I think he only healed 5 or 10 at level 1 healer. So if we had only one level 1 healer, he got stacked out a few times. But we were having a good laugh.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. That's one of the grinds that like, everyone's pretty much got to do it. If you're going for your achievement diaries, you got it, or you want the torso, or even some people want to get the other pieces, the other.
Yeah.
Barbarian Assault armors, or even the pet. It's good to kind of jump in there. And it's the problem I find with it feels so outdated that like shit it feels so clunky. You gotta like watch a video.
Once you get we were teaching people and we were getting like 40-minute runs, which is about double what you want. With a really efficient team, you can do like 20-minute runs. So you can do 3 per hour, which is very quick. So we had a great time. It's just more fun when you do it with friends and try to have a laugh about it.
Oh yeah. If you're doing it with randoms, it's a little sketch.
So yeah, it was a fond memory. It was the original raids, as you say.
Yeah, raids 1. Well, raid 0 maybe.
Yeah, so it's good. Nice to finish up with that one, and now I can work on. I think I'm going to work on 99 crafting as my sort of next AFK goal.
Nice. Yeah, that's good.
Which will be. I've heard it's quite a nice cape to have in the bank.
Oh yeah, that's the key. Yeah. It brings your rate to a bank, right?
Yeah, basically. And then we'll talk about the gauntlet changes, but essentially now I have to do like 400 gauntlets as well. So
that's fun.
That'll be the next PVM grind.
Sweet.
Yeah. What about you? You been gaming much recently?
Yes. Actually, no, not really. It's hard to say. Well, one thing is I've had to go back into the office for work a couple times a week, which isn't bad. It's actually good. But boy, my RuneScape grind is slowing down because of it. Can't quite keep scaping
AFK all day.
Yeah, I can't get my 80k or whatever AFK it all day. So it's a little rough there, but I mentioned before that I've been playing a bit on RuneScape 3. I know it's like a cardinal sin, but with it coming out on mobile, I just kind of wanted to try it out, and I've been wanting to. This might be a bigger discussion, but we'll see if we can squeeze it in here. But I'm really interested in the lore of RuneScape in general. It's once you get to know it, it's kind of interesting, and it's very I don't know, you'd have to watch like a video on it because it's like it's kind of hard to wrap your head around it unless you've done all the quests and really paid attention to all the quests. And even then, RuneScape 3 has built upon it way more than old school RuneScape has. But I've had this problem with old school RuneScape where, I mean, a lot of us have it where we just kind of space bar through the quests. And and you just miss all this information. But I've been trying to read it more often and like pay attention because one, you'll enjoy it more, and two, you'll learn about what the hell's going on in this world. But I found this with Kingdom Divided, where like I did enjoy it, and I thought it was cool, and it was a good quest.
Mm-hmm.
But I almost had to force myself to stay engaged at times. Like I had to force myself not to hit spacebar and to fully read the dialogue.
I just finished that one, and I agree with you. I didn't read the dialogue at all. So from my perspective, I'm not going to say it was a good or bad quest because I didn't read the dialogue. I've heard it's good, but oh my god, I don't think I've ever hit spacebar so much as in that quest. Like all of the entire quest was like in the dialogue box instead of a quest like Dragon Slayer 2, where the quest was like the things that you were doing.
Maybe that's what it is, because I don't entirely recall if this was a Dragon Slayer 2 issue that I had, but I last episode I kind of mentioned I had a few people reach out where I put the question out there to like, does anyone else feel dyslexic when you're reading the dialogue or any dialogue text in this game, because it's all very like, I guess, squiggly and curvy.
It is, yes. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, okay. So, and like I always I'll read it and it doesn't always process, and I have to read it over again, and I have to read it over again. If I say it out loud, I sometimes get tongue tied when I'm saying it, and which causes me to kind of just want to skip it more often. But so yeah, my point is that I wanted to try old school RuneScape 3 on mobile, and I know their questing is a lot more theatrical, I guess. It's a lot more engaging. They just have more quests, and it's the game itself. So RuneScape 3 is in like the 6th age, whereas old school RuneScape is in the 5th age. There's a whole whack of history that happened beforehand, which is all like really cool stuff. But I watched a YouTube video by this YouTuber named Salt Factory, and he did it with old school RuneScape, and then he did one with RuneScape 3 where he kind of just went and said like, hey, here's this game that I played when I was kind of young. Is it worth playing today? And like, does it still hold up? And he did it for old school RuneScape, and then he did it for RuneScape 3. And it's actually a sponsored video from Jagex, but I really enjoyed watching them. And he covers the lore in RuneScape 3 in that video. And it's like a lot of information. But one thing that I learned was that like RuneScape 3, the story is kind of at this point where there's like, so we have the gods in RuneScape, which is like Guthix and Zamrock and all those people. And they've been basically banished from old school RuneScape after the God Wars. But in RuneScape 3, there's a quest that Guthix basically, I think he dies or something. Spoiler alert, but it's been out for a while. And all the gods return. There's also a bunch of these elder gods, which are like gods above the gods. They're the gods that made the gods. They basically have these eggs that are about to hatch. And when they hatch, it's supposed to like destroy everything, or some shit's gonna go down. What I learned was like RuneScape 3 is kind of at this point in their story where the next part of the story is like this huge event that's gonna happen. And I don't know, who knows how it's gonna play out, but I was like, man, it'd be kind of cool to kind of be there for when that happens, because old school RuneScape, I don't know if we'll ever get anything like that where it's like this massive world-changing quest that would come out. Like we have Dragon Slayer 2, which is like super epic, and Song of the Elves, but these are all very like quests that are really contained in their story or in their area of the map.
Yeah. I feel like they would have to add. My favorite quests tend to be the ones that they're adding new areas, but they're not as big as Zaya. Like Zaya has a lot of empty space in it.
Yeah. Okay.
But like Fossil Island, for example, like a fully fleshed out idea, full of stuff, tightly packed, and a bunch of great new content. That kind of thing really speaks to me. And then the quest for Fossil Island could have been cooler. It was just getting to Fossil Island, but I feel like they could expand on that even more.
Oh yeah, I feel like there's a whole like booklet of ideas that they pitched and that they want to do, and we haven't heard anything since. So definitely could, but. With RuneScape 3, though, they seem to be much more... Well, we see this as content, too. Like, we hear about new content coming out in RuneScape 3. They're much more willing to take these big risks and these major game-changing updates that they add. And they also do it with the storyline, too, where, you know, they're already in a 6th age. They have all this stuff come out. So I was like, man, I really want to, like, learn more about the lore. So I've been playing RuneScape 3 to just doing the quests and stuff. And, like, the quests are so good. I'm having so much fun doing them. They have these like big storylines that are like, you can tell they had like major aspirations for it. So, you know, they have Menaphos, which is like the desert city next to Sophanum in RuneScape 3. And they have like this whole quest line that kind of brings you into that city and you learn all about the city. And I don't know how long the quest line is, but I've done like 4 quests so far, and that are all linked together, and it's all like it's all voice acted. It's all got these like really neat cutscenes. And I was like super surprised by how like much more engaged I was in the way RuneScape 3 does the storytelling, which obviously with voice acting and, you know, maybe a better engine to do these cutscenes, that's going to help a lot.
Yeah.
But so anyways, I've been really enjoying that, and it's I was watching, so I'm gonna link this back to old school RuneScape, because my original question I was gonna propose is like, are there certain parts of old school RuneScape that like whether or not they will get updated, like do you think they should get updated? Like I look at the questing in RuneScape 3 where they've basically redone every single quest in the game, even Rune Mysteries. It's a totally different quest. That's like a much more epic story than just like bring this item to Varrock and back and forth. But I was wondering if old school RuneScape is or ever will get to a point where it would be a good idea to go back and make some of the quests that are like really not super, like polishing up the quests to make them more engaging to do.
I feel like that's a hard question to answer.
Yeah, personally, that changes a lot, right?
I would prefer they just focus on new quests.
Yeah, okay.
And adding more, and then doing better with the ones they add to the game. Because part of the nostalgia of the game is those old quests, like Cook's Assistant. Is it engaging? I don't know. But I remember when I was a kid, and it's the exact same. So I wouldn't want to lose that part of it.
So maybe I should say, instead of redoing some of the quests, we have on Runelite, we have the quest helper system, which like it'll tell you who to talk to, and it kind of shows you where to go. And RuneScape 3 also has something very similar that's built into the core game. It's like a quest helper, but it's like a quest helper light, where it doesn't always show you who to talk to, but it'll show you where that person is, like the district, and then you have to go find the person within there. But it makes it, what I noticed when I was doing questing on my phone, I wasn't having to look up a wiki. I mean, sometimes I probably should have because I got lost and stuff, but I didn't feel the need to. Where I know with old school RuneScape, you get much more stuck. And I was like thinking, would it be a good idea, okay, maybe take back the whole reworking quest, but maybe building in a quest helper into the game?
I think people that use quest helper don't necessarily like quests or see them as an inconvenience and just want to blast through them. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of how I enjoy certain quests, don't get me wrong, but for the majority, like when I was building this, so I did the quest skip on my first account, and yeah, I liked some of the quests, but most of them were just like, I just want to get through them, you know? So I just try to do it as fast as possible. And this time going through, it was a little bit nostalgic because I quite enjoyed certain ones of them again. And I used Slayer music for all my guides.
Yeah.
Even though the wiki is technically faster just reading, I kind of enjoyed watching his videos and kind of settling in for the quest. That was sort of how I like to do it. And then some people now, I didn't have the quest helper at the time. Some people just do it with the quest helper and just like the efficiency and the sort of speed that it offers you. So I feel like for the people that find quests tedious, it's good. It's always going to be hard to balance because I would say there's a majority of people that kind of find quests overly tedious, except for the really fun ones, like Dragon Slayer, etc.
Yeah.
Like Dragon Slayer, Song of the Elves, the really epic quests that are sort of rites of passage in a way for any account to finish.
And it sounds really like, the whole argument of easy scape to add in the quest helper into the core game, right?
Quest helper is easy scape. Yeah, absolutely.
So, because the reason I'm bringing this up is because and I was talking to a friend who just started playing this game for the first time, and he was saying that, these quests suck. I have no idea what to do. Because I was telling him, you should kind of do some quests because you'll get like your Barrow's gloves. But then I told him about the quest helper, and he was like, this is amazing. Like I can, it's so easy to quest with this. And it is. It tells you exactly where to go. And with RuneScape 3 having a similar version baked into the game, I'm able to kind of turn off my brain a little bit. Like, you still have to think, and there's certain puzzles and stuff you have to figure out. But I don't have to spend a whole time being like, okay, where the hell is this NPC? I can't remember where he lives in this game. Because it kind of shows you, oh, he's in Varrock somewhere. Whereas like old school RuneScape, unless you have the quest help, it doesn't really tell you that.
Yeah, I see from a new player perspective for sure.
And the main reason I was bringing it up because I was watching a live stream, one of their past live streams recently, and they were talking about the client, the new client features they're bringing in, and we're going to be talking about that in a second. But one thing that they touched on is like clue scrolls, and most of us are using Runelite to solve our clue scrolls, and they tell you exactly where to go, right? They would be atrocious without
you'd have to have the wiki open essentially on the side to do them without.
Yeah, and some of them are really hard. And
not possible. You ever tried to do one on mobile before? Like a clue? Even an easy clue?
Yeah, it's rough. You have to pop open. You have to bounce between two different
You literally have to open the wiki or you're not going to be able to do it.
Yeah, it's tough. And so people were asking, like, okay, a lot of people use Runelite and they use a clue helper. Do you have plans for that? And Jagex said, like, yeah, we actually will be planning to bring in a clue helper into old school RuneScape. And the way it will work is when you do a clue, there'll be a button that you click and it will tell you what the answer is, or it'll tell you where to dig, or it'll tell you who to talk to, right? And there'll be a button baked right in. And because we're all kind of using that anyways. and this is why I asked the question about the quest helper, is because I was like, clearly I think there's an issue where we want to do the clue scrolls, but they're so hard to do that we don't want to spend the time trying to actually solve them. And I've tried to do clue scrolls without a helper. Some of them are so hard to do. Like they have these things called ciphers, but there is a certain type of cipher that they don't quite make sense. I don't even know how it really works. It's like some Russian cipher system, but I had to go and learn how that system worked. I had to watch some read some Wikipedia article, and then I had to try to solve it using a pen and paper. And then I still screwed up and I couldn't figure it out. And I was like, and I spent like a long time trying to figure it out because I wanted to see like how much fun is a clue scroll to do without being told what to do. And it's like
they take a lot of time and it's not usually worth it. So
or the anagrams where it's like a name that's been all mixed up and you're just like there are so many names in this game. Like how I am not going to be able to figure this one out.
There's the puzzle boxes and the light boxes. There's a lot to the clue scrolls. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, and so their solution is to like bring out a button that tells you exactly what to do.
See, I don't like the idea of the quest helper though, because that feels like it ruins some of the sort of immersive feel of the game. So it feels like that's just saying just do this super efficiently. But then you could also argue it's a good way to introduce people on how to do quests. Like you run over here, you grab this, and then so you could either imagine they did put the quest helper in the game. The very first quest you do is obviously Cook's assistant. So if they could have like a little, would you like to use the quest helper and you're like a new player, or if you sign up as a new player, they turn it on for you automatically. And it tells you to go and talk to the cook. So you go and talk to him, and then the quest helper runs you through the first quest. And then bam, at the end of the quest, they ask you, would you like to keep quest helper on or turn it off? Something like that.
It's like this weird system where like the clue scrolls I think is a better example to use, but I'm hearing them talk about, you push a button, it'll tell you how to do the clue scrolls. And it has me thinking like, would it be better for the game and for players' enjoyments to go and maybe rework some of the clue scrolls because clearly they're so difficult that realistically people aren't doing them. They're just going to have something tell you what to do. And it seems, and people argue like, well, we don't want easy scape. But then it seems it's a weird like paradox where it's like, okay, then, but we're bringing in a button that's going to now tell us what the answer is to all these clue scrolls.
I mean, it already does it on Runelite. So like anything beyond Runelite, a lot of Runelite, in my opinion, is just bringing the game up to like a modern standard. Mm-hmm. You know, there's stuff like a lot of it is convenience and not easy scape. So I'm talking about like menu entry swapper, possibly the single or maybe the second best of all of the plugins, where you can swap things like your jewelry box in your house. You can swap it so you can auto teleport to places. Or when you open your bank, you can shift click to withdraw all of things. That's possibly one of the greatest plugins. I think the single best plugin is the GPU plugin. If you're playing with like on a desktop, it just makes the game look so smooth.
Yeah, no, that'd
be my number one. My second plugin would be menu entry swapper, and then I don't know, ground markers probably the third best one.
Dope. Yeah.
Or ground items where it like highlights the things in different colors. It's just so cool, and it just adds like flair to the game rather than just seeing the item on the ground. You see, I got a Samarakian spear, and the text is red, and it shows you the price next to it. It just feels so good, dude. Those kind of things I really like.
There's a lot of updating we need. It's just, it's just weird paradox that I've noticed where like you hear a lot like argue against easy scape, but then we use these tools that kind of tell us exactly what to do, which essentially make the game easier than they would be if you look at like the RuneScape 3
no one would
system.
Do clue scrolls if the clue helper didn't exist in Runelite because they suck.
I know, yeah.
It's not good content. It's terrible content. If you have to spend like 45 minutes doing a hard clue and then get like 30K out of it. You know, master clues already take half an hour to do if you have all the things. So I think it's mostly just quality of life that Runelite brings. And I mean, some of the plugins were, definitely make it a little bit easier. Like, I don't know, the old demonic gorilla one that existed that got removed from the game. But
yeah, and the Zulrah.
Yeah, the Zulrah one that got removed. I mean, that's all fine to remove those things. So I think without the quality of life of Runelite, the game wouldn't be as enjoyable. It would be more tedious, and it's already a tedious game. So I feel like making players' quality of life better is 100% worth it. I mean, there's things like bank tags where you can like set up entire tabs so that you don't have to spend 10 minutes like gearing up for a boss. What else are some of your favorite plugins?
I mean, I think we already named it's the small one the one where it tells you the name of the item on the ground, so you don't have to.
Yeah, that's ground marker or ground items.
Yeah, the ground items and the tile markers I like the tile markers, although like it'd be nice not to have to use them. I guess it's kind of unimmersive, but
one of the best ones is custom left click drop. So for those of you who don't know, if you're ever barbarian fishing, instead of shift dropping all of your things or right clicking and dropping, custom left click drop, you can name the items that you want to auto drop, and then you can just left click them, and instead of use being the typical option or eat or whatever it is, it will change it to drop. So it's another version of sick. It's so good. So you can put in all the different kinds of fish, and then you can just click them. You don't have to shift drop them all. Same thing I do it for like teak logs if you're like AFKing wood cutting. There's a bunch of stuff you can do it for.
I didn't know about that. That's crazy.
See, it's just like another quality of life plugin that is really high quality. Yeah, the only one I would argue is Easyscape is in the wilderness. Player indicators is pretty busted, where everyone's title is red. I would argue that one is a little bit broken. But once again, nobody likes to get PK'd. So, I recently I built a keyboard recently. I got into like the custom keyboard world, which is crazy. Keyboard? Yeah, it's crazy. It's so that's a completely different topic for itself. I didn't realize how deep the world of custom keyboards went.
Mechanical, right?
Yeah, mechanical. So I bought like an entry level sort of kit, and then I got some switches and some keycaps, and I put it all together. It took like 8 hours. It was fun though. And yeah, now I have this sick keyboard. It's like a 65%, so it doesn't have F keys, and it's very compact. It's incredibly heavy. You could kill someone with it. Raichu in the CC helped me with it. He's done them before.
Oh, that's sick.
So he helped me with a lot of the purchases. And anyways, I threw it up together, but I don't have F keys. So there's a key remapper on Runelite. So now my numbers are F keys when I'm doing PVM content, but as soon as I'm in the bank or something like that, or in a chat box, it will change them back to numbers for me. So it just like automatically recognizes.
Yeah, it's nice to have. Yeah, we'll have to dive more into that mechanical keyboard world because I didn't know you could make your own.
I have to say, like, I used to have this big ass keyboard, and just like the sound difference for me is just incredible. Like, it sounds so nice and smooth. Yeah, it's a whole world, dude. There's like this big rabbit hole you can go down, and it's like it's taken me on this crazy journey. That's for another time. I think there's a few more boys that listen to the pods that are into them as well.
Yeah, well, mechanical keyboards are the superior keyboards in the end.
Yeah, versus, but I mean, like, you can buy regular mechanicals, but yeah, customs are like definitely, they're a whole different world, dude. We'll talk about it some other time, but it's been fun. Definitely fun. Okay, we haven't even talked about the updates, and we're like 50 minutes in.
Oh, we have to get into it. Yeah, the RuneScape 3 tangent. So my whole point of it was RuneScape 3 has like a middle ground. It's like a quest helper light and a clue helper light, and I like it because it makes things more fun. Anyways, another time, and we'll wait for those to get introduced into old school RuneScape. But for now, let's get into the news. Okay, jumping into the news, we have the new client features Milestone 1. So these are only out for the Steam client right now. Basically a beta test, but they'll be coming to the vanilla client and mobile. And they're going to be, a lot of them, they're going to be very similar, or you're going to be very familiar with them if you play Runelite, but they're going to be baked right into the game, and some of them might be a little bit nicer. But yeah, let's get into it. So the first one is they will be having an opponent information heads up display, aka one of the things that they're going to be featuring, or they're showing here, is when you fight a monster, they will have the exact monster's HP up on the top, like the top left corner, let's say, so that you can see exactly how much health they have left, instead of just gauging the green to red health bar above their head.
Nice.
Yep, that'll be pretty dope. They have the buff bar, which is, this one is going to be super nice because it's a pain. I don't know why I can't. A lot of this stuff, you're going to be like, how the hell is this not already in the game? But when you drink a potion or when you do like a home teleport, you will have a little icon on your screen that will tell you how long your potion, if you use a divinity potion, I believe it lasts for, is it 3 minutes?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Okay, so it'll give you the 5-minute countdown timer so that you can know exactly when your potion is expired. Right now, if you're on mobile, this is when I notice it when it's on mobile. You got to look in the chat box, and the chat box will be like, it's about to expire, and then it's like, it has expired. And it's kind of a pain in the ass to know. It's just a pain in the ass. You have to have your chat open. So they're going to be actually having a icon that tells you the time. Same with like your home teleport. So it's a 30-minute cooldown. Once you use it, you'll be able to look and see exactly what time is left on it. The next one is the fishing spot indicator. This one, I'm a little bit, I don't know how I feel about it because it's nice, but I feel like it's going to...
You can turn them off if you don't like them.
Yeah, oh, okay, that's true.
I would assume so.
Yeah,
like,
that would make sense.
Runelite. The fishing spot one, I'm the most looking forward to.
The fishing spot one is nice, but I think it would be weird to like never be able to turn it off because it kind of breaks the immersion. So what it would be is right now when you want to fish, you see a little, I don't know what you would call it, like a ripple in the water, and you can tell that that's a fishing spot. You don't always know what fish are there. You kind of have to just memorize that like net. If you try to net in the ocean, it's going to be certain fish, or I should say bait. Using a fishing rod with bait in the ocean will give you certain fish, whereas using it in a freshwater area will give you other fish. But you kind of have to know what you'll be able to get from each spot. Now you'll be able to have an icon that says like, oh, you'll be able to get lobsters here, or you'll be able to get sharks here. It'll show you the exact fish you can kind of receive from that spot. So yeah, I hope you should be able to turn it off, because I know for myself, like sometimes it's nice to try to make it, even though it's a weird game to try to immerse yourself in, but it'd be weird to kind of run by and see a bunch of little icons hovering over.
Yeah, I think that's good for new players to like tell what is available in certain places, though.
Yeah, so you don't have to actually memorize it. Because it gets confusing, like knowing that if you see cage and harpoon, will get you, the harpoon will get you like tuna and swordfish, but if you see net and harpoon, then the harpoon will get you sharks, or maybe it's vice versa. But you have to like memorize those weird combinations of fishing spots. Mm-hmm. So a little bit easier to figure that one out. Next one is tile markers. So you can actually highlight tiles, which is great for if you're bossing or doing just tons of different spots. I know for myself, when I go to do Dagonoth Kings, I've marked which ladder to use so that I can get to the Dagonoth Slayer. It's kind of, if you don't know, it's kind of a maze, and you have to, there's a bunch of ladders, and if you take the wrong one, you'll hit dead ends.
There's one wrong turn that you can make.
Yeah. Oh, is there only one?
Yeah, basically there's one wrong turn you can make.
Okay, well, I always hit that wrong turn. So anyways, you can mark it for that. But if you're doing other types of bossing, like Chambers of Xeric, you can do some markers so that you know where to stand for Ohm. Or if you're trying to save spot the wilderness monsters, that's where tile markers are really nice for. Speaking of Ohm and Chambers of Xeric, they'll be having the Chambers of Xeric helper, which will tell you exactly what rooms you'll be getting in your raid. Because if you don't know, there is Chambers of Xeric is kind of like Dungeoneering Light, where like it's a random assortment of rooms every time you go into it, but there are rooms that are there are room combinations that are more optimal than others, and depending if you're learning or if you're a pro, you'll be looking for certain rooms over other rooms. Right now you had to do this on Runelite.
They're like semi-random, so they come in certain patterns. But yeah. They got 6 rooms. You can get 5 rooms. Used to be able to get like 8 rooms plus, but they changed that recently. So they're making it. So that's pretty much universally considered the worst part of Raids 1, I would say.
Yeah.
Besides the fact that it's full of gold farmers, that you have to. It can take just as long scouting as doing a raid, and I think that's one of the great parts of Theater of Blood.
Yeah, true. That makes sense.
The other bad thing about Chambers of Xeric is that you automatically see the loot instead of seeing the purple chest and waiting until you open it to know what you get.
Oh, that's another, yeah.
Right? It's so cool with Theater of Blood. You'll like stand outside the chest and like, yeah, purple. And then you get disappointed when it's something bad. But at Chambers, you're just automatically either disappointed or excited.
You gotta tell everyone to hide their chat.
They don't have that 2-tier system.
Oh, man. So, we'll be getting a little helper so you'll know exactly what rooms you'll be encountering when you enter Chambers of Xeric. This one, I was like so surprised that this wasn't already in the game because it's with Runelite, and I assumed it's such like a basic feature, but mouse over tooltips. Basically, when you hover your mouse over an object, it will say what that object is right next to your mouse.
It's outrageous that isn't in the game.
Yeah. Right now, if you hover over something, it actually wouldn't show you anything. It just shows you in the top left corner. It'll say, I don't know, pick up whatever item it is, or it doesn't even do that. I'm not too sure, but it's something that like most people would be like, oh, how's this not already in the game? So moving over to the chat box, you'll be able to put in timestamps to see when messages were actually sent off. So when you respond to somebody's message, you can be like, oh, that was sent like 20 minutes ago. That's weird. So they'll be adding that as well. And those are all the major ones. Yeah, they have some other small changes that they've done for Kingdom Divided, or they've done for Theater of Blood. I don't think anything too noticeable. But the big one that they've added for clans, which was kind of cool. We had to kind of figure out how we're going to do this one, but you can now have announcements or broadcasts, they're calling it. You can broadcast announcements into the
I love this,
into the chat.
Change. It's so cool.
Yeah. So like not just announcements, these are very like specific announcements. So you can have it so when somebody receives a drop that's over X amount of GP. I know for us, we've set it for 2 mil. So if somebody gets 2 mil in our clan, everyone can see that they've got this item.
A whip. It'll say X and Y received a drop, Abyssal Whip, and then the price next to it.
Yeah. So they do that with the pet as well, which is really cool. That one, I saw one the other day, and it's awesome for when you get a pet. You kind of have that like holy crap moment, and it's amazing for a lot of people to kind of see that happen in real time in the chat.
Yeah, I love it a lot. And then for levels as well.
Yeah, they have for levels. It's weird because levels you can only have it on or off, which means
a little bit troll, but it's fun still to see everyone getting their levels up. I like that. Yeah,
and they're set to certain thresholds. So like once you hit 20, they'll be like so and so got level 20 in thieving, and then once you get to like 90, I think it does it every level. But there's certain thresholds where it tells you
it's every 10 up to level 75 or 70, and then every 5 levels up to 95, and then every level to 99.
Right. Yeah. So
when someone gets like 20, fishing, it will broadcast the exact same as when someone gets like 90 fishing. So it's a little weird. You can't like set it yourself to be like, oh, 99s and then like 90 plus. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's just sort of a strange thing. But either way, I think it's a great addition because it brings like a little sense of community to like, oh shit, that's what they're grinding. Good.
Yeah,
like,
it's kind of cool. Yeah.
I don't even mind the fact that it goes so low. I thought it was going to be really annoying, but it's cool to see people getting their gains out there.
Yeah, no, I guess it doesn't happen as much as I guess you would expect. Maybe for bigger clans, so your clan may vary, but one thing that I think is like really funny, and I'm tempted every minute that I'm playing this game not to do it, but you could set the GP announcement to be 1 GP. So literally any drop people get.
Only you can do that though.
I think it's anyone. I'm not sure. I gotta see how the.
It's just you that can do it. Only an administrator can do it.
Oh, okay. Well,
so it's only you.
When I first turned it on, it was like so and so got 7 fire runes, so and so got 12 GP, so and so got an iron dagger, and it was just
that's
like
so funny.
Spamming up the chat, and I was like, oh, that's hilarious. It was really funny, and I'm like so tempted to just turn it on for like 10 minutes just to see what's up.
Yeah, you should do it for sure.
We figured maybe we'll have like a spam Sunday. Another thing you can turn on is completing quests. So you can announce when somebody's completed a quest. And finally, it's when people join or leave the clan. Not 100% sure if that means when somebody logs in and logs out, or if somebody
that's
joins.
Not necessary. I think it's when they log in or log out, but that's not really necessary.
I think I have it turned on right now because I always liked it, and no one's complained so far. So
it's interesting.
We may have to revisit that one.
It's been fun though. Yeah, I really like the updates, especially like the drops and
It's really cool. Even for big loots, I saw someone get like a Tanzanite Fang earlier, and I was like, oh, that's pretty neat. Like, I'm even wondering, maybe we'll have to talk about it, but some behind the scenes. But I wonder if it'd be even worth lowering it down to like 1 mil. Just
yeah, I think that'd be totally fine, because then you'd get a few more drops. You just don't want it to be like so low that it's spammed constantly, but every once in a while, it's nice to see what people are grinding and like kind of what they're getting.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to kind of see like, oh, this person's killing Cerberus right now, or whatever it is.
Yeah,
it makes it fun. Yeah, I'm glad that they're still kind of updating things, and I hope they just continue fleshing out more and more stuff. All right, let's move on to the next one, which is let's get into it. The wilderness changes. They want to change some parts in the wilderness. There's a lot of things that they're kind of going back and forth with. We're not going to go super into detail because that's going to take way too long, and I know for a fact that we've done this in the past where we talk in such detail only for them to come around.
Have very conflicting opinions on the wilderness, you and me.
Yeah, so. But also like, I think we'll have to see if the debate kind of gets heated. But I know that a lot of times we'll go into such detail just for them to turn around and them to be like, yeah, we don't know what we're gonna do. And I think that's the big issue with this. I've noticed is that I don't think they know what to do. I think the wilderness is in a weird spot. So anyways, let's quickly dive into it. So the first thing is they did this survey to kind of ask how the general public thought of the wilderness. And the first question is like, how often do you go into the wilderness? 55% of people said they rarely go into the wilderness, where 5% said they never go into the wilderness, and 38% said they often go. People ask, what kind of activities do you, what's the reason you go into the wilderness? The highest one was completing clue scrolls at 45%. Followed by fighting other players. And then you had like unique rewards and killing wilderness bosses and money making, all about 5% or so. They asked, do you understand how the wilderness works? 92% said yes. They asked, does the wilderness offer a good balance between risk and reward? 70% said no, they disagree. Next question was, do you try to avoid spending time in the wilderness? And almost 70% said yes, they try to avoid.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah. Another one was, do you try and fight back other players when you get attacked in the wildy? Almost 70% said no, they don't. They asked, is skull tricking a problem? 70% said yes, it is. Next said, would you spend more time in the wilderness if skull tricking was less common? This was basically a 50-50 split. They said, do you think organized groups of players have too much of an advantage over solo players in single-way combat? 88% said yes. They asked, I would spend more time in the wilderness if the fights were fairer for solo players. 75% said yes. They said, should the wilderness have more content? 77% said yes. When adding new content to the wilderness, should it focus on end game and best in slot rewards? 60% said no. They said when adding new content to the wilderness, the focus should be on skilling activities. It was basically a 50-50 split. When adding new content to the wilderness, should it focus on PvP-based rewards? 83% said yes. When adding new content to the wilderness, the focus should be on money making. 67% said yes. I think the wilderness bosses need to be reworked. 86% said yes. And finally, if the wilderness bosses are reworked, should they have new rewards? 85% said yes. So yep. I know I kind of run through them, and it might have been hard to kind of process everything, but I found that my point, yeah, I feel like a lot of the answers are kind of all over the place, and I don't know if that has to do with the questions, but I think the wilderness is just a confusing area because they're trying to add something for everyone, and I don't think that's working.
And once again, the wilderness is a very core. This is like the philosophy. It's a very core thing of the game, and it's been in the game for a long time, and we all mostly loved PKing when we were kids, or at least had tried it. And it's never going to be that. So like reviving the wilderness, or that quote that they use, it's never going to be what it was when we were little kids, because we know we're all adults. We know what we're doing. There's optimal strategies. It's not going to be us running around in Varrock, fire striking each other. That's just not going to happen. So I think that's important to remain, like, when you think about the nostalgia of the wilderness, it's not the same as the rest of the game. It's not always going to be there.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree with most of these points, that it's a little confusing in the wilderness, and there does need to be changes, especially to the bosses. I specifically have a qualm about the like single. We're going to get into it, but there's this whole like singles plus thing that we're going to talk about. And it's both good and awful, terrible.
Depending on what type of player you are, yeah.
In my opinion, you as a player, like let's say you're doing a boss. Let's say I'm killing Callisto and a PKer gets on me. Who has the advantage in that situation? Me running away or the PKer PKing trying to kill me before level 30 Wilderness? But I would say, let's say I'm a good player and can switch my prayers and they're a good PKer. I still have the advantage to get away because it's entirely on them to do all the hard work and not make mistakes. Now, if it was them plus a team, then they have the advantage because they can do all sorts of spec things, and then you're likely going to die. But the chances of that happening to you are incredibly low, that a singles PKing team jumps onto you. The whole single team versus solo player, that's more geared towards, I'm deep wildy PKing and I run into a team, they're going to kill me. That's where is the real big problem.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's two problems that they're trying to address with the singles PKing with one solution. And I think the solution is terrible. Well, we're going to get to it in a second though.
Yeah, and I think my thought. So I saw when this was coming out, these proposed changes, and we'll get into it. But just so that you can have this thought, maybe in the back of your head while we get into it. But a lot of people were complaining about whatever it was. A lot of people are complaining about it. No praise was being had, which is fair. The Wilderness is a weird spot. Jagex is trying to create this ecosystem, and I've mentioned it before. But what they're going for is the way PKing used to happen back in the day. Heartless, you touched on it. It was very natural and organic. People went to PK because you could get good money if you were good at it. And it was such a wild card of an area that you didn't need to really worry about being good. Mm-hmm. You would go to an area and you would find people there. And there was so many different hotspots. There was the Mage Bank for high end game players who wanted to solo PK, or you could solo PK in teams. That was a thing. Right at the Mage Bank, Deep Wildy. They had the Black Knight's Fortress, which was for like lower levels, mid levels who wanted to be in teams, but you kind of step out and be in solos. But anyways, it was this organic place where everyone was fighting each other and everyone was having fun and people loved PKing. Nowadays, it's definitely not the same because people are really good at PKing, which makes nobody else want to learn how to fight against them because they're so freaking good, and it's hard to have fun. And it's hard to spend money to lose money just to try to get better. But what they're trying to create is this ecosystem where a PVMer or skiller goes into the Wilderness because they can make money or they can get a lot of experience, but they go into the Wilderness for reasons that have nothing to do with PKing. They go there for their own reasons. And then PKers show up because people are at this hot spot. The PKer, let's say a solo PKer, tries to kill them because this solo PKer sucks, isn't a good PKer, and they don't stand a chance against actual veteran PKers. So they go against PVMers and skillers. So they go to this hot spot and they try to PK them. But then another PvPer goes to that spot because if you kill a PKer, they tend to have more money just because they have more gear, they're skulled up, and skillers and PVMers generally will get out when they have a lot of loot to avoid losing. They try to
risk, they minimum risk as well.
Yeah. Whereas PKers will try to risk a little bit more because they know the better gear you have, the better chance you have at killing someone, which means you'll make more money generally, as long as you don't die. So you have your shitty PKer. A better PKer shows up to kill that shitty PKer, and then maybe a group of shitty PKers comes up to kill the better PKer.
It's like a food chain.
It becomes a food chain where at the very bottom you have the PVMer, which sucks, but then you have all these PKers who are killing each other. Mm-hmm. That's what they're trying to do. Now, I casually PK and I do a lot of PVM and stuff in the Wilderness as well, and
they've already done this though. Like what your ideal situation that you just mentioned is, I'm okay with that food chain where PVMers try to make good money by risking stuff in the Wilderness. That's the Revenant Caves. They introduced the Revenant Caves to be this place where, look, you can come here and make great money. There's great alcohols, there's great drops, there's some cool unique rares, and it became this PKing hub. But then the toxicity of the Wilderness clans and the gold farmers took over to the point where it became essentially this lockdown gold income for those people only. So the Revenant Caves in its early days, I liked the idea of them, and I always have liked the idea of the Revenant Caves, but they degenerated into this disgusting, toxic, abused system.
Yep.
That they eventually had to remove, and then now the rest of the game is suffering because of that mistake. Because now gold farmers, instead of just doing revenants, now they've evolved and are doing literally every other content in the game. Gold farmers in general at Theater of Blood, you see them at Chambers. They're all over the place making money, and it's like deeply affected the economy, along with COVID as well. But I'm sure we've all seen our banks like massively drop. Mine dropped 500 mil in the last few days, in the last couple weeks. Went from 2.2 bill to 1.7. So it's crazy how things just drop across the board. It's like the items are still there, but they're just gold is becoming more stable.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge, we'll probably have to touch on it because that has to do with another update we're about to talk about. But I think I agree. The Rev Caves, I wasn't a huge fan of them at first. They seemed kind of problematic, but they did exactly what they were meant to do. They became this ecosystem because I used to go there to do PVM, and a clan would come in and swipe and wipe us through. And
it worked for a while, and it was so cool, and it was high intensity, and it was fun. But then it degenerated into something that became an incredible problem for the community.
Yeah. And the system worked well because I would go in there as with the clan, we would PK very, casually, but there's power in numbers, right? So you show up with 10 people, you guys all suck. It doesn't matter if you all suck. You can go clean the room of Rev Caves of all the PVMers. So we would do that. But then what would happen almost every time we did it, eventually you would bump into another team doing the same thing. And you guys are going to fight each other because if you can clean out a team, you'll make so much more money.
Yeah.
The PVMers would just run away.
Absolutely. As Qui-Gon Jinn said, there's always a bigger fish.
Yeah, exactly.
And I loved the idea of Rev Caves, but it didn't work out.
No, it didn't work out.
I feel like they're sort of stuck in this position where they're now trying to make these changes to satisfy both PKers and PVMers. And the reality is it's just never going to happen. 70% of people don't like the wilderness. That's going to remain that way, whether or not you make these changes, because some people just don't like to get PK'd, and they're just going to have to accept that.
And I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to fix this problem that the wilderness is by adding these things to it. I love the wilderness, and I really do, but I really love, and I don't want it to be removed. But I've noticed there's a fundamental issue where PVMers and skillers aren't happy with the wilderness. PKers aren't happy with the wilderness. Jagex is not happy. Nobody is happy with how the wilderness is because it sucks for everyone. PKers don't want to resort to killing PVMers, but you never bump into how are you going to find another PKer? Because the PKers are just hopping worlds, and unless two PKers hop in the same world, it's not going to happen.
You're right. You need some kind of central draw to bring everyone in, but it can't be like the Revenant Caves were, like multi-lockdownable, etc. It's there needs to be some kind of central draw to draw everyone to one area for different reasons.
Yeah. And I think these changes, while they might help the current state a little bit, they're all just like band-aids to this problem that the wilderness is maybe just outdated in the way it works. And I see with RuneScape 3, people, since I've been playing it, I'm kind of looking at the subreddit, and they have the same issue. Nobody likes the wilderness. PKers don't like it because nobody goes there for money. And people don't like to go in the wilderness because they just get killed on sight because PKers are just wanting to kill anything.
Yeah, and I feel for PKers. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a PKer myself. I have been in the past. I have a pure and stuff, and it's a good time, but it is what it is. It's not like my main thing in this game, and I feel like those people who do PK for not a living, but you know what I mean, as their main source of enjoyment, are not having fun.
No.
So what was I going to say? There's another issue with this. This is another huge issue that they're talking about potentially making changes so that on certain worlds the wilderness works differently than in other worlds. And I think that is the worst possible thing that you can do to the wilderness. It has to be uniform across all worlds and all servers. Because if it isn't, then you get into these confusing situations like where we currently are. On a high-risk world, as soon as you enter the wilderness, you're instantly skulled and cannot protect item. I bet you a lot of people didn't even know that.
Yeah. No, I mean,
so what happens if you're on you lost your blowpipe on a high-risk world?
Oh my goddamn blow. And Fury, I think. I can't remember, but...
Yeah, and I know a friend of mine lost his... it was his own fault, but he lost a T-bow when that change happened.
Yep.
because he was doing some stupid thing, didn't realize he was getting instantly skulled. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't like how they would do that.
Yeah,
should we talk about some of their proposed changes and then get into it a little bit more?
Yeah, like my idea is always, I was thinking, the way other MMOs do it is because people get so spread out across so many servers, is that they kind of combined servers. And they're kind of thinking about doing this by making the wilderness like you're not able to go into the wilderness in some worlds. But
yeah, but then what's the point?
It gets part confusing. Of the game. And I wonder if it would be a good idea to make it so like worlds 1 through 25 all share the same instance of the wilderness. It's a hot take. People would be like, yo, that's messed up. But it would make it so that more people are condensed into a world so that PKers aren't having to jump through 100 different worlds to find other PVMers, better chance to bump into them.
Which is why they sort of need to find some central draw that works for everyone. But is still farmable in a way. Like the Rev Caves I love the idea and the philosophy of the Rev Caves. I think it's perfect.
Yeah,
but we ruined it as a community.
God damn, we did it again. Anyway, so yeah, let's go into what they're thinking about. So skull tricking is something that a lot of players find an issue. Personally, I've never been skull tricked. I think getting skull tricked would suck, but if you were careful, I don't really think it's that big of an issue. But anyways,
people have tried to skull trick me before, like at Wilderness God Wars dungeon and things, and it's just like I never will fight back because it's too scary.
Yeah,
like, I don't want the risk of sculling.
Yeah, exactly.
Just some new age skull trick that people come up with skull tricks all over the place as well. You see the videos like Framed and Torvesta skull tricking people. It's just, I don't know. I don't think it should be part of the game personally.
I think they're funny. It's a whole other debate about a sandbox game and what shouldn't be, where the line should be drawn. But clearly people don't want to skull up by accident, which is fair. So one thing that they're thinking about adding is a new attack option where you can left click to attack only if you won't get skulled. This way you can fight back and not worry about accidentally clicking on someone and then sculling up to defend yourself. I think that's decent. Yeah, that's good, because it would be nice to be able to fight, to feel confident that you could fight back without worrying about sculling up by accident and then losing whatever items you brought. Luring, they want to make some extra safe areas. Seems to be only for PvP worlds for the most part, but people can get lured because some banks are safe spots, other banks aren't.
This is a great. Yeah, they need to. They've been doing this slowly because the lures just keep moving around to different banks. But they need to keep updating the banks, making them safe.
Oh, that's right. They want to kind of work with some, what is it, they call it, combat area trick. They kind of want to look at like the way combat works in certain areas, and like they have singles plus is something they introduced in the Rev Caves, but
I hate the singles. They're thinking about making all single way combat singles plus in the wilderness.
Yeah, and
so this is even worse. This would make me want to go to the wilderness less. Because right now you can do this thing called boxing, where if you are engaged in combat with another monster, no one can attack you.
Yeah.
So, for example, let's say you're out at the Chaos Fanatic, and someone teleblocks you for some reason. You can run over to the Ice Warriors, and the person who's trying to kill you will be constantly ragged by the Ice Warriors. They have like 15... They have the craziest aggro range I've ever seen. So you can just sit there or you can X log, so you'll log out 60 seconds later, or you can, I don't know, there's a bunch of different things you can do. You just wait out the timer, wait till the person gets pissed off and leave. There's a whole bunch of different options you can do. You can do the same thing at Chins. If you get teleblocked, you can run over to the Hobgoblins. There's a bunch of different options. So basically you can use minions to your advantage to escape. But now, with Singles Plus, it means the PKer is able to attack you instead of the monster. It's able to attack you off the monster, and that is really annoying. You're just going to make it way harder to get away as a single player. And this is but the thing that comes with that is there's a PJ timer. So like multiple people in singles can't attack you after a certain time, so they can't just spec. But that so very rarely happens that I think it's going to be detrimental for people trying to run away, personally.
Yeah, it could be tricky. They tried it out in Rev Caves, and I think Rev Caves kind of works, but I think Rev Caves right now is its own little monster because it kind of gutted. Not many people go there, and Singles Plus is kind of needed if you want to be able to kill anyone in Rev Caves. So anyways, they're looking at that with the Singles Plus and PJ timer. Another thing that they pulled a while back in 2017, is loot keys. So similar to Deadman mode, if for anyone who remembers Deadman mode, it's coming back apparently too. But when you kill someone, instead of them dropping all their gear, they will drop it all in the form of a key, so that you can pick up the key and you can get the hell out of there without worrying about having to spam click all the gear into your looting bags. You'll be able to kill something and move on real quick. And it would also make it so that if you kill, I don't know, certain PVMers, you could stay longer. I don't know, maybe killing people at the Chaos Altar, they drop their key and will have like 5 bones in it, versus dropping 5 bones and filling up your inventory real quick. Something that they're thinking about. The Fountain of Ruin, which is the small area in the game where you can kind of look to get your eternal glory. But another thing that's kind of cool about it is that when you cast spells in there, it doesn't actually use your runes, so you can cast them for free. Great place for doing snowball events where you kind of cast airstrike on each other, but they want to make it so that you can't log out for 3 seconds when you're there. And they're looking at the Din's Bulwark. They've proposed some changes to make it a less strong item, but they still want it to be tanky. And they're thinking about adding this new perk where you will have a strength bonus when you don't have it on the defensive settings. And it looks like the changes that they're thinking of are to open it up to maybe even bring a tank roll into old school RuneScape at some point. At least this is one step in that direction, where you can have an offensive mode with the Bulwark.
Yeah, and the Bulwark scales now with your defensive gear. It's cool. I like the change.
Very interesting.
It's better than before, where they just gutted the hell out of it.
For the vegans out there, there's Xerxian robes. The salad robes will be getting nerfed by half their magic attack value. So sucks for that.
Sucks for you, Dilz, the original salad warrior.
Oh, the salad warrior. So we have to have a ceremony.
You just wear mystics.
Yeah, mystics. You look badass with the black mystic.
They're cheap. It's only like $90K for a set of mystics.
Something like that, yeah. Dragonhide armor. They're going to be nerfing some of the Dragonhide, but another thing that they're going to be doing is the Blessed God Dragon armor. Right now, all of it requires a defense level, but they want to take away it from the Vambraces and the Chaps, which means Pures are going to be looking at buying them. So if you've invested into them,
they should be able to. This is annoying because this passed a poll ages ago. This didn't pass a poll ages ago, and it probably should have. They're basically just the same with a +1 bonus.
So that price can be expected to go up. Yeah.
Totally. I mean, it's only going to go up so much, though.
Yeah. There'll be like a risk item for Pures. And then finally, this is the last thing. It looks like the last thing we're going to talk about is the Rev Caves. A big thing they want to do is they want to bring a new Revenant boss, which after killing Revenants, there's a chance of one spawning, and it will announce when it has. And when you kill it, it will drop 3 times as much loot.
I mean, it's like kind of lame. I wish I had a unique.
Yeah, that's what I'm surprised. We're going to get into it in the next dev blog, but no unique. Yeah, it's just going to be whatever. Also, the design makes it look like he has a huge dong, but that's another.
Yeah, an absolutely massive dong Revenant. So yeah, that's a quality change. So besides the ad, like no uniques. Come on, like
I know it's a shame.
Even give us like a sweet like crossbow redesign, like a ornament kit or like a little something.
Yeah.
To make it worth hunting instead of just extra money, because that seems lame.
All right, now move on to the final dev blog. This is the big one. Well, sort of. It's called Phosani's Nightmare. So they brought a hard mode to the Nightmare of Ashiyama, but you can only solo it. So it's a solo version of the boss, basically. It's pretty tough. But I think the kills are like approximately like 8 minutes versus like 25 minutes, the regular Nightmare. So if you're going to solo Nightmare, this is probably the way to do it.
Oh yeah, 1 in 120 roughly is the drop rate for an Inquisitor's piece.
Oh damn! So if you can get her done, you can get some good loot from it. It's
a nice, very difficult fight. Some of the hardest content in the game, but
it's difficult, but not much has changed. I noticed when I was doing it, it's the same thing, but
there's an extra little phase in there where you gotta checks your footwork, which is kind of cool. You gotta walk around the room and try not to die.
So yeah,
it's cool. Yeah, I like it. It's great for Iron Man. Oh my goodness, this makes me actually think that Nightmare is something I'll do one day.
Yeah, Yeah, it's not. I like that you're able to solo it now. It gives you that opportunity to do that if you don't feel like jumping into the gold farm world.
You were able to solo it before, but yeah,
it was like 25 minutes.
It was too long.
And like the record was like 16 or something.
Yeah, it was too much.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But if you kill one of the unique, I guess the only unique reward from this is a metamorphic dust for the pet, which turns it into the parasite version of it.
It's disgusting. They also get the sleepy tablet as well.
So not the only unique. The other one is the sleepy tablet, which allows you to teleport straight to the Sisterhood Sanctuary, so you don't have to make that long trek from the Theater of Blood area.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great addition.
Yeah, so they've brought that out, and it's all right. It's nothing crazy. It's
content that I think is a really nice change, though. Like, this isn't just hard mode. This is like quality of life at the same time by cutting the kills, making it harder but soloable, adding a teleport. I don't care about I already like the little nightmare. I think it's a sweet pet, little grandma.
Yeah.
But the bug version is truly disgusting. Like, you think the Penance Queen is bad. This thing is horrific. It's like a bug with a grandma scary face.
Yeah. Next, though, is the equipment rebalance. The ranged meta has changed. Yay. So this one is a pretty big one, but I think let's get through the dirty.
Let's touch on it quickly, and then we'll promise to like update, because the ranged meta is going to evolve over as people play more with the new items. So we'll talk more about it on future pods, but we'll just brush over it today.
Yeah, let's speed run it. But they brought out the Bow of Ferdinand, which is a new crystal bow that you can get from the Gauntlet. And it's basically like the Blade of Saildor, but the bow version of it. Nah, that's not even fair to say. This thing's pretty strong. This thing is like a twisted bow.
Real strong. It's a baby twisted bow. I think it's like roughly 20% worse than the twisted bow.
Yeah, fair enough. So
at places where the twisted bow is good.
When you do the Corrupted Gauntlet or the regular Gauntlet now, you instead of getting the Blade of Saildor, you have a chance of getting the Enhanced Crystal Weapon Seed, which can be used for the Saildor or the bow. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. So the bow is meant to be used with the Crystal Armor because it gives it a bonus to its accuracy and damage, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's both of them.
You basically have to use it with the Crystal Armor. For those of you out there thinking about using Armor, like the accuracy goes way up when you use the full crystal set.
Mm-hmm.
And it's disgustingly accurate. You're hitting constant 40s. So it's really good.
Yeah,
good weapon.
It seems to shred. So if you're wondering why did they bring this new weapon out, well, it's because the Toxic Blowpipe has got nerfed. So the accuracy and the strength of it has been nerfed, and they also reworked a bunch of the darts so that it's basically feels kind of useless to do it unless you have at least rune darts. I've heard people saying don't even use rune, use amethyst.
No, they're cheaper. So if you're a main, use amethyst darts, and this isn't like the blowpipe got removed. It's still one of the strongest weapons in the game. It's just not. It's only good at places that have low defense. So it's still good at Hydra. It's still good at shamans. I'm just trying to think of other places. Things that have like low defense in general. It's going to be still good at Zulrah, all these things. It's still a high quality weapon, but now it's just more niche than it used to be.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's now not like a one size fits all. It's still going to be used in almost every place it was good at, but
still going to be great at Theater of Blood. Yeah. Anywhere where you're warhammering down when BGSing down things defense to 0, it's still going to be good. It's just not going to be as good at Olm anymore. It's not going to be good as Mystics. Things that have higher range defense, it's not going to be as strong, which is nice.
Yeah. So generally speaking, those are the big changes. The Armadillo crossbow got a very slight buff. Crystal Bow got a buff. The Dragon Hunter crossbow got a slight nerf.
Dude, I have to say the new Ferdinand bow is sick. I've seen Koss use it and I've watched a few videos. It's really good, and I think it fills the niche perfectly for that mid-tier bow, mid-tier range weapon between the Twisted Bow, which is about 750 mil right now, and the F bow, which is about 200 mil. Probably a little bit more because you could get the armor. So it's kind of that step up. I think it's a little bit expensive. Hopefully it goes down a little bit. Yeah, I think it will when the hype dies down. But I love that there's a step between the blowpipe, the F bow, and now the Twisted Bow.
Yeah, like my question is that we got a new bow that didn't come with new content. It came with content we've already, the Gauntlet. But I thought the whole reason to rework the ranged meta was because they found it hard to introduce new ranged weapons with having a twisted bow and then having the blowpipe, which basically covers all grounds.
Mm-hmm.
Now, introducing this new bow, does that not just make it even harder to add a new weapon for the next raid or the next big PVM content we get?
Not really, because they can change because if let's say they add range strength armor, like an upgraded version of armor, it's not actually useful with the crystal bow, with the new crystal bow, the F bow, because you need the crystal armor on to actually use it. Okay. So if they add range gloves, then that would just be helpful across the board. I think range strength gloves, like an attachment to barrels gloves, is basically like kind of locked in. If I was to make a prediction right now,
they've tried it, I think, twice now.
But we already know that they're just going to force things in if they think it's good for the game. So,
yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Twisted bow is still disgusting. Probably the best weapon in the game now.
Now, a big thing that's been funny though is the twisted bow has crashed in price.
Yeah, it hasn't just been the twisted bow. Like everything has dropped.
Yeah,
like
everything's been dropping
in value.
The twisted bow though, I bought it at 1.05 bill, so 1 bill 50k or whatever. I can't do the math.
550 mil, yeah.
Yeah. It is now it dropped down to 750 at one point.
I think it's like 800. It's like stabilized.
Yeah,
but like everything has dropped.
Around.
When I got the Ellie, it was just like a shade under a bill. On the G value.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like 800 mil as well. So everything has been dropping across the board. Zenites are like 7 mil. They used to be like 15.
And that is something that is on my list of topics to talk about, because I think teaser for next episode, you'll have to tune in next time. I think we should dive in what we think the actual problem of it is. I think there's a whole lot of things playing a part here, but
in the economy, there's a lot of things.
So
and there's more than one factor.
Yeah, so that'll be for next episode. But boom, there is the new bow that we've seen. It shreds. So if you can't afford the twisted bow, now maybe you can afford this one. I think it's about 100 and something mil. So it's much cheaper than the twisted bow. So that's good.
You have to buy the armor too. It's probably going to cost you. Let me just check the price. Enhanced. It's going for 160. It's probably going to drop. It'd probably settle around 120 is my guess. So it's going to cost you maybe just under 200 mil to get the whole crystal armor set up.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to be rocking with that. Like it's going to do you at most places. My current plan is to get the full setup from Gauntlet. It's completely changed Iron Man meta as well. That's a whole other discussion. Basically, I'm going to get the gear and then look to do Inferno with it.
Yeah, fair enough. It looks pretty good. But a few other things that we got with this dev blog is nothing major, but you can recolor your Serachnus pet to, I guess, orange or blue. Sure, okay. Shooting stars got a little bit of an increase. So it's slightly better to do them if you want to AFK mining a bit.
I think it's good now, actually. Like, it's pretty good mining XP if you're AFKing.
I was doing it, and it was like, I think it's like comparable to Motherload Mine now, whereas before it was like lower.
Less clicking.
Yeah, that's a nice thing, although having to hunt them down might be a pain, but still, that's pretty good. Now, finally, we're running a little bit late, so we got to wrap this bad boy up soon, but the one thing I want to touch on is Jagex has a Flickr account, which is kind of like a photo bucket or some image hosting site that they had where they were I guess they keep some of their artwork up there. I'm not sure what's up, but somebody accidentally uploaded it looks like concept art onto the old school RuneScape Flickr account. And people are speculating this might be it looks like it could be a new boss, possibly raids 3. It immediately got taken down once people saw it. And it looks kind of deserty. I don't know. Did you see this picture?
No, yeah, I did. It looks really cool.
Looks pretty sweet. So I think they've talked about it before, but we should be hearing about what they have planned. We're supposed to get the Rune Fest version of announcements, I guess the virtual version, coming up with, I would assume this month or early next month. So that's exciting. I can't wait to talk about all that. But let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back. And Heartless, you've got something to talk about.
I sure do.
Sweet. Okay, we'll be right back. All right, we're going to take a break and head on over to the Grand Exchange, where we get to talk about the different ways you can support the show. I know what you're thinking. Dilz, the economy is in the crapper right now. How can I support the show? I can't answer that. I have no idea how you would be able to do that. But if you want to, if you're the one who got out right before the market crashed, if you sold your T-Bow when it was still worth $1 and not, where is it, downwards to like 500, man, I have so much money wrapped up in merches because I was like, I've been merching for the past like, oh God, a year and a half. I found a handful of items that I was able to make a fair bit of profit. And I don't know what happened, but I sunk a bunch of money in because I saw they were dropping down in price. So I was like, oh my God. And they always shoot back up. I put in like 50 to 60 to maybe even 70 mil into some of these merches. And I don't have like a crazy amount of money. So that was a lot of an investment. But I told myself, it's going to sell. I'm going to make like 150 mil maybe afterwards. And it's been like 3 or 4 months and they're still going down in price. I don't know if maybe some of you longtime listeners will remember when I sunk like I sunk a lot of money into birds' nests, and then an update came out. Something happened. They did some tweak, and the bird's nest just crashed. And I held on to them for like 3 months, and they never went back up. And I was like, you know what? I need this money. So I sold it, and I lost like half of my money. And then as soon as I sold it, a few weeks later, they introduced bird's nests or bird houses for Hunter that would yield you bird's nests. And it shot back up in price. No, wait, what did they do? They did some change, which, no, they nerfed bird houses to make it less bird nests or something like that. Anyways, they shot back up and I just totally screwed myself and I feel like it's happening again. So why did I bring that up? I don't know. We were talking about money for a second there. It made me reflect on maybe what seemed like some terrible decisions when it comes to flipping. But hey, maybe you're one of the people out there that has a ton of money from flipping. This actually has nothing to do with in-game gold, so I don't know. I'm trying to relate it. Maybe if you like real-world trade, which you probably shouldn't, but hey, you do you. If you want to support the show, you can do that by going to patreon.com/TheWildernessPodcast. We're a few different supporting tiers with a $1, $3, $5, and $10 tier. And it's all in Canadian. That's the beautiful thing. It's all in Canadian. So if you're from, I don't know, Europe, or if you're from like anywhere except for Australia, we're pretty close in terms of our money value. We're kind of about the same. But it's you actually won't have to pay as much because it's in Canadian. So that might work out. But yeah, anyways, we got a few different fun things going on there. So take a peek. You might enjoy, if you want some bonus content from the Wilderness Podcast, we do I want to say weekly a weekly hangout while we watch the live streams. Unfortunately, I've been having to get called into work and a bunch of other stuff, and they keep picking Thursdays, and it's really pissed me off. They keep saying, hey, Dilz, you got to come into the office on Thursday. And I'm like, guys, that's when the Jagex live stream is, and I do that Patreon thing, and they don't care. They don't care. So usually that means on the Saturday I try to do it. I've been busy on a few Saturdays, which usually means we double up when I have some free time. So my point is, I try to do them weekly, sometimes bi-weekly, but you'll still get the same amount. That's from I think it's from the $3 tier. If we ever do like early access, if we ever do like bonus content, like straight the OSRS rambles or anything similar, which I've been wanting to do it, I've just been so swamped, so I haven't had a chance to plan anything out. But there's a few people I was talking with who are interested in coming on. One of them you might remember as Deegan. That's right. Spoiler alert. I asked him the other day, I was like, hey, we should record a podcast together. It's been a long time. And he's like, yes, I would be so down. We just have to coordinate our schedules there, but probably by the end of the summer. Maybe by the end of summer. So if you're on Patreon and you're a $5 tier supporter, you'll get that early access like a week before everyone else, I think. And then it'll come out on the free feed. So anyone who doesn't want to support it and are like, are you seriously gaining content? Don't worry, it'll come out on the free feed just like a week or so afterwards. And then of course there's a $10 tier supporter. I don't know what they're doing. Mr. Moneybags. They're the ones making a killing on the market right now. But that any support really means so much. It's I really do appreciate it. So Yeah, thanks guys for that. So yeah, it's patreon.com/TheWildernessPodcast. One of the rewards you get a dedicated episode to a few of the supporters. So of course it is dedicated to our $5 tier supporter, Tanko Styles, and it's dedicated to every one of our $10 tier supporters: Aiden A, Gentanu, Grunkle G, Splemo, Dreadful Monkeys, Mateo Was, Szechuan, Cynical Cyanide, Mallard, and a super duper awesome shout out to Strosity, because I had missed him on the shout outs for like 5 years, a long time. Not actually 5 years, but a long time. Yeah. So guys, thanks for the support. And hey, you know what? If you just want to show some love and you don't maybe care about the bonus rewards, even though, just let me know and I'll hand them to you. But you can buy me a coffee by going to buymeacoffee.com/Dilz. I got one right here. French press coffee too, the primo stuff. So Timbuktu 25, Caradoc, Terry Paramore, It's a Cold World, Swizzle. You guys all contributed to this amazing coffee that I'm drinking right now. So thank you guys so much for the support, and thanks to everyone for the support. We started doing we're on our fourth week of our skill of the week, and we wouldn't be able to do it without you. I mean, we could do it. There just probably wouldn't be that much of a reward, but because you guys have been supporting the show and we've been getting so much love from you guys, I was like, let's give it back to some of the community because, I don't know. Let's bring this all around. Let's share the love. So because of the support on here, we're able to do this skill of the week where we give away a bond every single week, and that's really cool. That makes some, so far we've had a few winners, and some of them they've been pretty stoked to win. And we're doing it. I really like the skill of the week. And so far we started off with farming, where we were measuring total experience, and then we did fishing, where we measured efficient hours played, EHP. It's this RuneScape sweaty metric. Don't worry about it, but there's ways of tracking it. I don't know how it works, but it just works. And then we did Hunter, where we measured total ranks increased, and that was a different way of measuring it, and it was a little bit of a topic of discussion because what I really wanted to do was allow so many different types of players to win, because when you're measuring just total experience or when you're measuring just EHP, you're really giving it to people who are end game players or people who have a lot of time to play, right? Like EHP really comes down to who has the most time to play, and which is great. Those people deserve to win, just like the people who are really good at getting experience deserve to win. But we want to change it up so that every week it's a nice variety of players who can win. So like, we don't want it just to cater towards end game players or cater just towards people who are very are able to like do the tick manipulation methods, or the players who have a lot of money to spend. Each week we're changing it up, and we're going to get more and more creative because we just want so many different types of people to win. Whether, even if you only have an hour to play every night, we want you to have the ability to win. And we don't really want it to be a super try-hard competition where people are like spending 8, 9, 10 hours a day trying to grind for it, which if you want to, you totally can. But we also want to encourage that not to be the way to win, not to be the meta. We want the meta to be like, I've been thinking about so many cool and fun and creative ideas so that we can really let everyone have a chance at winning, because I suck at this game and I want a chance to win too sometimes. I won't, not actually, but I like to see myself at number 1. So anyways, let's get back to the episode. This has been a long one, lots of tangents going on there, and it went a little bit longer than I expected. But that's okay. It happens every now and again. So let's get back into the episode. I get really long-winded on these because I record these like the day after we record the podcast. So I'm kind of got like a second win. I'm all talked out when me and Heartless are going, but when it's just me solo, it's like, ooh. This thing can go on forever. Okay, the music is ending. That means we gotta go. Thanks again, everybody. All right, now that we are back, before we get into all our classic housekeeping stuff, Heartless, you were telling me you have something you have to talk about.
Yeah, we got a little event coming up. So this is going to be a PvP, then we fight style event. So Rari and what's his name, and Link's Ocarina do these on YouTube quite a lot. But we're going to do one for the CC because they're fun. We've participated with them before, and it's just going to be a nice little intro event. So it's going to happen on Saturday, June 17th. And I believe we're going to start it at 8 p.m. Eastern time, which hopefully lets people participate across the board. So that's 5 Pacific.
Nice.
And I think that's like 11 or 12. It's like midnight for UK. So at least the Europeans can join in this one. And it's going to last 90 minutes. So just an hour and a half event. You're going to be in teams of 2. And your goal is to get as much GP as you possibly can inside of the wilderness on World 386. So yeah, you will start with 50K with you and your partner at the GE. You can buy all of your starting items you want, whatever method you want to do to make your money. And then you're welcome to go back to the GE at any time for upgrades. But the whole point is to get as much money as you possibly can as a partnership. And then at the very end, what you're going to do is you're going to go to the G, sell all your stuff, and buy the best possible PKing setup for the two of you. We're not going to do Ancients for the final fight and no overheads. It's going to be pretty fun. You're going to go with your partner, and we're going to randomly assign like a bracket. It's just for fun. And we're just going to duke it out for the championship. You're going to be fighting in the Clan Wars portal. And yeah, no overheads, standard spellbook. So you're not going to have to worry about people being like crazy tri-bidders. The first place team is going to get 12 mil. Second place will get 8 mil. Third place will get 3 mil.
Oh,
and then we have a mass free-for-all at the very end where like all the teams are thrown together in like a battle royale style. And then the winner of that will get like 7 mil.
Hey, that's pretty
And then
sweet.
we have like another 50% rewards. So another like 20, 30 mil for secret rewards for like specific goals that teams have, like sort of hidden achievements that teams have done in the wilderness.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, it's going to be really fun. And it's just like a quick event. You can sign up with a partner. We're not really worrying about like balancing too much. It's just like a for fun thing. I mean, you could go and hunt black chins if you wanted to, you know? But everyone has to be on the same world, and you can log out, but you can only log into the same world. So
that's cool.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really sick. Our whole clan is going to be running around the wilderness doing all sorts of stuff.
How can people sign up? Did you mention that? How people can sign up?
No, not yet. So you're going to sign up through the Discord. I'm going to post like an ad everyone with all the rules. I think Costs and Wheeze have been helping me with this pretty deeply. So there might be a few adjustments, but yeah, it's basically just it'll happen next Saturday at 8 Eastern time.
Amazing. So that's going to be pretty
and
sweet.
You can sign up with a partner, but you don't need to. You can sign up as an individual. I think that's what I'm going to do, and then we'll assign the teams so that you're sort of equal. So I'm not going to put like 2 level 126s together. If you're a low level, you can sign up, and I'll try and balance the partnership so that it's at least going to be quite fun for everyone. Iron Men can participate as well. I'm going to play on my Iron Man. There'll just be special rules for us, like we can gear up and then use the price of the items at the end, because it's in Clan Wars, so it's not like we lose our items.
No, that sounds like an awesome event. So that should be a lot of fun to do. So yeah, if you're not on the Discord, I guess join the Discord. There's a link in our description of this episode, or you can go on Twitter at TheWildernessRS. We do a bunch of events. You guys put on some cool stuff. I think we got bingo coming up in a few months, I believe.
In about 8 weeks. We'll have bingo is the end of August will be the next bingo event.
Yeah, so if you want to stay up to date with all those fun events, you can get into the Discord and check that stuff out. We also have a skill of the week, which this week was hunting. Yes, it was hunting. Yeah,
it's nice. We've been whipping some new kind of events together, and I've enjoyed planning them. And if you've ever got ideas for events, then you're welcome to shoot them my way or shoot them to Wheeze or Cost or any of the event planners in the disc. We love new ideas. It's fun. We got a nice big CC. It's good to have these community events.
Yeah, we have the good old event planners or event manager role. So if that sounds fun to do, all you have to do is put some events together, and if they seem good, then boom, I guess you can join the team. Just get in touch with me or Heartless or whatever, and we can figure out. We help you set up an event if that's something that you wanted to do. I've had a few people reach out to ask how they could get involved, and I was like, oh, you know what? Let's work together and put an event together first. You'll do most of the legwork, I guess, but I'll help in any way. And and then I guess that's kind of like the trial. But anyways, if you want to join our clan, it is wild. You'll have to get in touch with someone, but the best place to kind of sit idling is either as a guest in the clan Wild or in Wild CC, which is still and always open. Our email is TheWildernessPodcast at gmail.com. We got some emails, but we are running late, and I got dinner. I can hear the missus downstairs clanging dishes.
Let's save it for next week. Okay?
Yeah, I gotta wrap this puppy up. So that's for the next one. So thank you so much for the emails. I might be missing stuff, but that's quite all right. I think it's fitting for the song of the week to be "The Bane of Ashiyama." Heartless, did you have a song planned out? I hope I'm not stealing your thunder.
Yeah, Bane of Ashiyama.
Bane of Ashiyama, sweet. So of course that's the song that came out with The Nightmare. And I think that's it. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Nope.
You ever watch Jerry Springer?
Nope.
At the end, Jerry Springer would always come out and do like a Jerry's Thoughts or Jerry's Corners, where he'd talk about some very deep stuff. So do we have a Heartless's Corner, this one?
A Heartless's Corner?
Yeah.
You're telling me to come up with a nice new sign-off?
Okay, maybe it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it is a lot of pressure. We could start doing that, though. I'd love to do that every week. You just have to give me some time to plan, that's all.
People keep scaping.
Yeah, keep scaping, have fun out there. Don't worry about the destination. Just enjoy the journey.
Awesome. Yeah, there it is.
Nice cliches.
All right. Guys, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Take care. Bye-bye.